Hello everyone, I'm Pierre. I'm an indie game developer working completely on my own. This is my new devlog for a new game idea I'm working on. So let's get started. So in the Godot editor, I will begin with setting up a simple 3D character body which will be my player. So now I just saved it and it was time to start working on coding the player movement.
After days, weeks, months, even years.
So now that it was finally out of the way, it was time to create a test scene to see if the movement was working correctly. Okay, so this doesn't seem to be working. But as it turns out, all I had to do was move the player up because it was getting stuck in the CSG box, so now it was working. One thing that I have learned from my previous games is that I should never waste too much time on designing before I finish the main game mechanics. So I still haven't talked much about the game I'm working on. Basically, it's a horror game where the player is an electrician that got a weird request at midnight to change all the light bulbs in a mansion that is in the woods for a lot of money. Now I won't say more about what I have in mind so that I don't spoil the game. Now over here I have written this really simple code that allows the player to rotate on the y-axis and the camera to rotate around the x-axis with a minimum of -30 degrees and a maximum of -10 degrees. Now of course, as you all know, in order to create all of the necessary features and add all of the game design stuff, I need to create a, demo house model just for the purpose of testing. So I went ahead and spent a little bit of time on creating this house. As you can see, this is the outside, the entrance of the house. Right now, the house is all empty, it's just split into rooms. I also went ahead and added a couple of textures on the walls, on the floors, and a couple of models just for, wasting my time. And yeah, as you can see, the second floor, I can get through this staircase. Okay, as you can see, it's really empty. I didn't even split it into rooms, it's just a big rectangle. And that's because I still didn't have much time to create that, but I will now. And as you can see over here, I have a balcony. It's really small and simple, but of course I will design it later and improve the house. And for now, that's it. Here's how I created this really simple brick wall. So first of all, I went ahead in Godot and added these CSG box shapes and then gave them these random positions, scaling and stuff. I added them all inside of a CSG combiner shape, and I downloaded an add-on called CSG Export from the creator Mohammed043 that allows me to click on this button, export CSG mesh to .obj file, and then after that was done, I imported my obj file over here, and that's how I got these bricks. It's really practical and easy to use. I recommend you download it. Now I am currently working on version 4.3 and I didn't find any code for this version. That's why I had to manually update it, which is fine, it was really easy. I just had to change a couple of functions and names and class names, of course. So yeah, this add-on really helps people who, like me, don't use Blender and also need to create meshes. For the sky, I went ahead and added a new sky. Then I will add a new shader material and create a new shader. I will call it sky.png. Godot shader. Now here I will copy a code from my old game that renders some stars in the sky. And here we go, it works perfectly fine. Now I will edit the shader parameters just to make it more, fitting with the style of this game, and that will be it. Okay, so here's how I usually create raycasts for interaction. Firstly, I will add a raycast 3D under the pivot. Then I will change the target position so that it's pointing towards objects in front of the camera. Then I will keep these only for bodies. And I will change the collision mask to be number 4. I will also rename it so that it will be interactable objects. Now, under the input map, I will add a new action called interact that will allow the player to interact with an object once they click the letter E. Now on the player script under the process function, I will add a function called check raycast collision. Now over here, I will add a new onReady variable which will be our raycast. Now over here under our function we have to check if the raycast is colliding at all. So if it is, then we will store the collider inside of a variable with the function raycast.getCollider. Now we will check if the collider is of type of class name. I still haven't defined it yet, but I will later. I will call it interactable object. Now that means that it will also check if the collider is of the class name interactable object, and if it is, it will call this function under collider.getInteractionText. I still haven't set up this function, but I will later. Now this function will return a text that we want to put in an interaction label that will be displayed on the screen. So I will set up a new function called function set interaction text. Now this function will take the input of text, which will be a string. Now that text will be put inside of a label that I'm creating right now under the control node and in the bottom center. Now initially I will be hiding it because later on in the text it will be set to visible. I will actually do it right now. And that way we can set this interaction label .text equal to the text that we got from the collider.getInteractionText. So now let's set that up. Under the door, I will actually make it a CSG combiner so that I can use collision on it, because currently it's a node 3D and that of course won't help me. Now I will also change the collision layer of the door to be 4 so that it can collide with the raycast. I will now create a script for this interactable object. Now over here I will give it the class name interactable object so that finally removed the error, and now I will also add the function getInteractionText inside of our code, and I will also remove the ready and process function because we don't need them. Inside of here I will just return the text that we get passed through the editor. It will be an @export var interaction text. Now Now over here, we have to check if the player clicks the interact key while the raycast is colliding with an interactable object. Or actually, I will move it right under here so that it's better. Now over here, it just checks if input.isAction just pressed interact, then it will do something. I actually put the I capital, so I need to change it because Godot is very case sensitive. Now it will work properly. Now inside of here, I will call a function that will be defined under our collider script. It will be interact. Now I will copy it and put it under our interactable object script. It will just for now do print interacted. Let's run and see if it works. Okay, wrong scene. Okay, so apparently I can't move my mouse, and I guess it's because I added a control node that takes up all of the screen and I didn't set the mouse input to be ignore. So I will do that right now, and it works. Okay, so I can walk through the wall with the door, and I'm not getting a text. I will easily just change the mask to be also with number 4. Okay, the collision is fixed. Now, wait, I guess the text, I just didn't set it to anything. So I will go under our script, under the door actually, in our scene, and under the interaction text, I will set the default to be press E to open, or interact is better. I will then change this to open door. Okay, now we get the text. And when we look away, I'm still not removing it. So I will just say else set interaction text to be null. This way, when we look away, we won't still have a text displayed on our control node. And I will just set here if text is equal to an empty string, then I will set it to be invisible. So now we should get it only when we are looking at an interactable object. I will also just center it really quickly. And now it works. Now once I click E, it should print interacted. Yes, it does, so that proves it works. Now I will add another label that will be just a point in the middle of the screen. Actually, I will try a plus sign. Maybe it's prettier. I will set it to be on center and also center it in the text. So let's see how that looks. Okay, it doesn't, so maybe I should rerun. Okay, here we go. I think it looks good, so I will keep it for now. Okay, so as you can see, I've added new animations for opening and closing the door, and I don't know if I will keep them later on, but for now they are good, so I will. Anyways, I just noticed this door, so I need to fix it. Okay, so I'll leave it at that for now. If you've made it this far into the video, then you probably liked it, so consider subscribing for more. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!